they have done it. Amazon has pulled off the seemingly impossible and adapted a video game into a phenomenal television show. Taking a lot of inspiration, in my opinion, from the way that HBO adapted The Last of Us, Amazon has taken core concepts from Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and Fallout New Vegas and put them into a television show that, whether you're a fan of Fallout 76, like my buddy Zeb is, who's over like 3,000 hours, it's ridiculous, or you're somebody like me who is a fan more of kind of the single-player traditional Fallout 3, 4 New Vegas games, or you're somebody who's never watched Fallout, I think you're going to like this show. I will be doing an episode-by-episode review. I'm going to be a little slower than everybody else because I'm not binge watching it. So after you've seen an episode, come back here and check out the channel. I'll give you guys my thoughts on what I saw, draw comparisons and contrasts to what happened in the video games, or at least the source material that I think they were pulling from on the video games, and just give you my overall impressions on it. My resume is pretty extensive in the Fallout universe. I do own the T-51B Power Armor Collector's Edition helmet. I did buy the Pip-Boy from the Fallout 4 Collector's Edition, and I even have the entire anthology with the little mini nuclear bomb set. I have bottles of Nuka-Cola upstairs that I picked up from Bethesda's E3 conference years and years ago, and I'm generally just a fan of Bethesda-type games. I'm really excited that this television show exists because I think it's going to give a lot of people insight into just how amazing the world of Fallout really is. It's a wild capital wasteland, depending on if you're in Fallout 3 or a post-nuclear wasteland in Fallout 4 or even in New Vegas. The world out there is crazy after the bombs fell. And what you have generally is a society that has been trapped in time for many, many, many years, who is now emerging from the vaults to see what the world is like. The world is obviously very different. We have irradiated monsters and superhumans. We have death claws. We have rad roaches. We have raiders. We have ghouls. We have feral ghouls. We have this evil overlord company in Vault-Tec. We have the Enclave and the Brotherhood of Steel and so many other factions vying for, supremacy in what's left in the world. And each Fallout game typically follows a character who is released from a vault, who is going out into the world. And as the player, you're seeing things for the first time, trying to decipher who's right, who's wrong, who should be trusted, who's worth your time, and why you're doing what you're doing. Specific to the first episode, how things kind of evolve, is where we meet Lucy, who is a member of Vault 33. She is been selected to be part of the breeding program. And I love that they just kind of throw this out there and you just kind of have to roll with it. There's not really a lot of explanation here, but it's very quickly understood that vaults are overseen by what they call the overseer. The overseer of the vault is in charge of the well-being. Think of them as like little mini presidents, right? And her father is the overseer and has agreed to let her be part of this breeding program with a fellow vault. Now, unlike the video games where each vault is completely isolated from one another, in this universe, the vaults are connected together, at least a couple of them are, in a giant underground network. So even though they lock off against each other, if they need to, they can open up and they can exchange goods and services. In this case, they're going to exchange the ability to reproduce with somebody from another vault. In exchange, they're going to give away some of their harvest and crops to help a fellow vault who has gone under some hardship. So they're all trying to build each other up while maintaining their own kind of vault supremacy. So there's a little bit of a rivalry there between all the vault dwellers. Which is cool. I like that. I actually think that's a really positive change from the video game where everything is completely isolated. It's neat to think of these kind of vast underground cities or partial cities of networks where people are sort of helping each other, but not really, because ultimately they want to thrive, not necessarily at the detriment of others, but clearly they have a vested interest in their own group first, which is really human nature. I think that's actually a really good change. Anyways, Lucy goes and meets this turns out to be a raider. It turns out the group that she was working with is actually full of raiders who have taken over and killed all of the original vault dwellers. Hell ensues. Massive fighting, massive loss of life and supplies and everything. And Lucy, her father is kidnapped, and Lucy decides she's going to leave the vault to go off and find dear old dad. Sounds similar to the plot of Fallout 3 because it is. You're going after your long lost father. Unlike in the game of him going out to do some modern miracle science discovery, in this game, you're going to find him because he's kidnapped and you want to bring him back because life sucks without dear old dad. So, like I said, a little bit of borrowing of some of the plot thread there. That's Lucy. We'll get back to her in a moment. We're also introduced to Maximus, who turns out at the end to finally be a squire in the Brotherhood of Steel. Brotherhood of Steel is a really, really cool group that's dedicated to finding pre-war artifacts in kind of what is loosely formed as a ultra-militaristic group who will reign supreme by firepower. I would think they are probably most like a modern-day militia who is bent, really focused on strength and power and weaponry, kind of right as might. But you get to meet them in some of their interesting ideas. You get to see a character kind of working up through the ranks. He starts off as a kind of backfill for a squire. Ultimately, I'm sure he will rise to the paladin rank, getting to don the amazingly cool T60 power armor, slightly different than the T51B power armor that we saw in Fallout 3. But we're going to probably get to see him rock that. You get to see a ton of dudes in their suits, these giant paladins, these kind of space marine types who are basically out there fighting the fight, spreading super democracy. Almost like a little play on Helldivers there in a sense. Just this kind of ultra nationalistic group, which is great. And then we're also introduced to the Ghoul, who is just a random guy down on his luck who unfortunately gets radiated and he becomes a ghoul. Now, ghouls are scattered throughout the Fallout universe. Some of them are regular ghouls that can talk and live normal lives, and some of them are what they call feral ghouls who just attack for no reason. This one is going to have, played by Walton Goggins. This guy is a normal dude. He's going to talk and walk and have feelings and thoughts and desires and everything. Ghouls typically live a little bit longer. They are somewhat immune to the radiation effects after they've been irradiated. Traditionally, they have really wispy hair and no noses. That's kind of like, they almost look like a skull. And this is going to be Walton Goggins' character known as the Ghoul. And I'm really excited to see how all of them will interact between Lucy, the Ghoul, and Maximus. I am sure they will all meet up. And just like in the game, we're going to have some sort of companion quest where they all get together and work together. I also saw what I loved about this show, really more than anything, was the amount of effort that the studio put into nods and into kind of throwbacks to the original games. And I saw Todd Howard as the executive producer. I think that's a phenomenal pick because he clearly knows this universe. Fallout is arguably one of the largest franchises ever. I remember losing my absolute mind when Xbox bought Bethesda for over $7 billion, getting full access to that catalog and that rich history and those great experiences that a lot of us played in the single player Fallout experience and maybe the not so great experience from Fallout 76, except, like I said, if you're Zebby. But for everybody else, really lot of rich history to draw from there. I saw lots of Vault things in the background that you would remember from if you played the games, including but not limited to sugar bombs. I saw people using Jet. We saw Mr. Handy Robot. We saw a lot of inspiration and aesthetics that pulled directly from the game, which I think they did a really good job of. They even insinuated we're going to get to see Dogmeat, who is the faithful companion of many Vault characters. So we're probably going to get to see Dogmeat at some point. We obviously saw the power armor. We know that the Enclave exists out there. We know that the Pit Boys are alive and well, and a lot of the Nuka-Colas out there, and the old look at the Red Rocket cars and the fast food joints. So if you've played Fallout extensively, this was just almost like another game. I mean, they've taken the universe so accurately and reflected it so well. And this wouldn't be a video by me if I didn't mention Halo once, right? Something I think the Halo TV show got wrong was some of the set design and some of the aesthetics in the background, which didn't really necessarily reflect the way they appeared in the game. And here, I think they've done a much better job of, I could look at any scene and instantly tell you a place that I have seen somewhere in a game, or a plot thread I have seen somewhere in a game, or the sensibility of characters, or the violence of the game translated into the television show. And they just did such a phenomenal job wrapping everything together. Since this was largely an introductory episode, there wasn't major pushes in any of the plot, other than we're kind of reintroduced to the ghoul now that he has, not a man anymore, but he's this weird kind of ghoul guy, right? A little bit with Maximus. He hasn't done too much yet other than going off to see the brave new world. Lucy was the one I think that most of us related to. Very similar to the lone wanderer in Vault 100 or Vault 101, kind of breaking out in search of something. With Fallout 3 going after your father, with Fallout 4 going after your child, trying to kind of see what the world was like. And it's cool that at the very, very end, as the vault door opens very slowly and methodically, you're blanketed by this white light, just like you were in Fallout 3, just like you were in Fallout 4. The door opens for the first time and you go outside into the brave new world and just take a look around at what is. And you see the dust and the bones and the wrappers and the weapons and everything just laying around in the world. And Lucy very quickly realizes this is not going to be a walk in the park. And I can't, that moment in Fallout 3 specifically, when you finally leave Vault 101 and you walk down to that first town and your Pip-Boy picks up that weird transmission of like this weird radio station, and you start scavenging by walking through husks of buildings, and you're opening up like old, melted, dilapidated refrigerators and walking through the husks of broken cars, and you get your first look at a raider camp. That moment that all of us went through, because the game really forces you into that area right at the beginning, is something I think many of us hold very fondly. And that feeling of awe and inspiration and wonder absolutely injects itself very well into this first episode. So I have no doubt in my mind going forward, as we encounter other groups and factions, as we learn more about the Raiders, as we learn more about the Enclave, as we learn more about the Brotherhood of Steel, as we get looks at rad roaches and death claws and the mutated superhumans with their super sledges, all these things and all these moments that we felt in the game are going to translate so well into the show. And it is believable within the universe what they're doing and why they're doing it. And it's easy to get behind. To me, other than The Last of Us, which I think was basically a frame for frame shot of the actual video game, this is the closest original content we have to source material. But I am starting to see some very quick parallels from storylines and beads that were so prominent in the video game that are definitely making their way into the episode. So first episode gets a major thumbs up for me, just like the good old Vault Boy. I love this episode. I can't wait to see where the series goes, and I will be back. As I get through each episode, I will come back and give you guys a review and give you guys my thoughts, and like I said, draw compares and contrasts. But to me, this has the making of just a timeless show. And it makes me want to go back and play Fallout again. I actually reinstalled Fallout 4 on my PlayStation. I saw they're actually getting ready to update the graphics. They're giving Fallout away right now on Amazon Prime. And then obviously, if you are a member of the Xbox Game Pass community, you already have access to everything anyway. So you can go play those at any time you want. But good on you, Amazon. You made me proud. And I'm so, so happy to be a fan, to have that extended understanding of the universe. And I'm so, so happy people who have never heard of the Fallout show or the video games are asking me about it and getting into it, because maybe it'll feed them into video games. And just like The Last of Us and just like Halo, I'll be able to say, you know what, there's a wide world out there. You're just scratching the surface in this. Go do it, go play it, go live it. And that just brings my heart so much joy that such a cool universe is actually now available for mass consumption. That'll wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.